Yeah, everyone, this is Thermites, and this is Weekly Shonen Jump for the week of May 24th, 2020. On the cover, we have Jujutsu Kaisen celebrating something, I imagine. Oh, probably the anime, actually. If not, like the anime announcements. I saw the trailer for it, and it looks like it's going to be, like, it looks really exciting. I wasn't this excited for the Doctor Stone anime, for instance, because even though I was excited for Doctor Stone, like, nothing in the trailer seemed all that crazy or cool or, like, different from the manga. And it's not that the Jujutsu, like, it's not that it had stuff that was different from the manga, but the animation seemed very fluid and very stylish, and it still had a bit of this sketchy style to it, which I always appreciate in a adaptation. So, interested enough, I might end up watching a bit of the anime just to see if it intrigues me more than the manga. Also, big apologies for last week. I did not record all of Jump. I did the on Discord live stream, so 3 people saw it. 4 if you count donuts, but that's it. As such, before every chapter in this week, I will try to say, like, in addition to my usual, like, where were we, what was happening, I also kind of want to say, like, this is what I thought about the chapter. And if there's anything you want to ask, like, if you do want to ask, like, what were your thoughts about, Time Paradox Ghost Rider, for instance. Like, I read the first chapter last week, and that's not out there, so if there's anything you want to ask about that, feel free to ask. Anyways, let's jump into Actage, Chapter 113. It's interesting that we're getting it from this perspective. Like, we saw Akira's mom, like, go through the mental process of why it is that she wanted to back Yanagi here. Why she wanted her to essentially, like, create this new world of actors who don't have to, not that they don't have to fake their smiles, but, actors who don't have to put on a forced smile just for the money. Like, actors who can choose what projects they want to take instead of being forced to take certain projects just, for the reputation boosts. And I actually do like that within the same page we got the back and forth of I, as an actor, want to choose my own project, and I, as an actor, don't want to choose my own projects. Like, I do trust someone else to make the right call. Like, Actosh has actually been very impressive in how it refuses to say, this is specifically what all actors must be like. There's a lot of, like, this is good, or this is bad, or this is inconclusive. But there's not a lot of everyone needs to do this X thing. A lot of it has been, you can do this, or this is advisable, but there are people who break those rules, and it's fine. And they're, like, it doesn't make them better, but it does make the world of acting unique. Yeah, I imagine she wouldn't know Kuriyama at all. Like, from what we understand of his work, it's all been, like, like, stuff on the battlefields, and, like, super indie stuff. Like, he's leading up to his first big movie with Yanagi, so I wonder if this is, like, last chapter also had a lot of Kuriyama focus. Like, are we getting a mini arc featuring him before Yanagi, like, goes into this next big production? Yeah, so he is still, like, calling the shots. He's just doing it remotely. Like, is he trying to set something else up for the movie? Or I guess he also has the drama that's going to happen. I do appreciate the comment is she even an actor? Because, yeah, like, she is extremely honest. I mean, though that does betray the strength of her acting. The fact that she is the honest person. That everything she feels is something she is legitimately feeling in the moment. Also, that felt like a really long, like, cold open. Oh no, that's a big misstep. Okay, first of all, title drop right here. But also, really? Okay. So he does mean, fall in love as in to fall in love with, the work of someone as opposed to, like, literally a romance. Because I could not imagine that being where the series is going. Yeah, I guess his stuff is so indie that even a rental shop, like, a random rental shop probably wouldn't have anything. Oh wow, so she's actually, like, not sticking up for him, but she is offended on his behalf. And not even in the case, like, it's not that she's seen the movie or anything. It's just, like, that's really weird. That she's offended based on the idea of, like, not even the clerk saying it was a bad movie, but just the clerk not understanding it. I guess because Kuriyama has always been very direct with her. Like, he's rarely been a mysterious mentor. He's usually been very direct in what he wants her to learn. Or, if he hasn't been direct, it's usually for, because what he wants her to learn is, just working on a movie. Like, something you can't sum up. I wonder if he was going to do this anyways, or if he heard that she was looking to watch one of his movies. And yeah, she's so sweaty here. And I guess the blabber's supposed to be like, she is chattering on. I'm so curious to see what this is going to be like. Because the way Unagi is, like, I'm 80%... Yeah, I'm going to say, like, 80%, she looks at it, she also does not understand it at all. And then we have to have, like, a mini arc of her figuring out what this movie is. But I could see, like, a 20% chance that she looks at it, and because she's been with Kuriyama this whole time, because she does, like, know his mind, she is able to tap into something deeper, and she is able to figure out what it is. But I think that wouldn't be that interesting, honestly. I think it'd be way more interesting if we get it the first time, she doesn't get it, and then she has to unlock what the movie is. Especially if she still likes it at the end. Like, if she likes it before she understands it. Because it does seem like he is a very well-respected director, just not a big director. So his movies have to have something that makes people want to watch them. Interesting chapter. Very, like, emotion-focused. Very, like, centered around the two of them, which I'm hoping we get more of, like, for the rest of the series. Like, if the rest of the series is the TV series and then the movie, I can't imagine that, though. Aktosh has, like, spaced out the big stuff, like, consistently. So it has to be TV series, some other arc, then the movie. Yeah. I don't think it's going to really stay super high this week, but it's a good chapter. Next is Black Clover, chapter 251, The Curse Devil. And it's weird that we're getting this color page, like, here of all places. Because this fight's... Okay, how did last chapter end? Because, like, yeah, last chapter was her versus Hair Lady. And then she ate all of her hair. Right, the big stand rush. Yeah, I thought this was definitely the end of the fights. I mean, maybe we'll get a little more from Charmy, but also, the chapter is called The Curse Devil, which I imagine is going to refer to Megicula. But Charmy's not cursed. I mean, maybe she is, actually, like, with what's going on with her. But it seems very separate, especially since, like, at the start of this arc, we did go around and say, like, Noelle's family has, they're not cursed, but her mom had a curse. And, like, some of the Black Bulls have direct connections to curses, some of them don't. It'd be really weird to bring up now that, oh, by the way, Charmy's also cursed. Oh, thank goodness, one of the Spirit Guardians did something. I mean, of course, also, it is Gacha. Like, it is the Spirit Guardian we've already seen. And I imagine the only reason he was allowed to do this is because he's about to get stomped. Also, I was too distracted from Weird Pervert Man, but seeing Mimosa actually use an attack is pretty cool. Like, I do feel, of the Black Clover girls, like, I was never really super attached to her, but over the last couple of arcs, I like her. She's good. Yeah, good question. I mean, it could just be because we're bad people, but I think it could also be like there are big curses throughout the land, so it might be that they're strategically attacking places to create like a magic circle or something. Ah, no, it was more sadism than anything else. Oh, and that also means that, like, the last couple chapters we had aren't, like, they are the classic Black Clover, one person takes out one person, but the fights aren't all over, so we could have them, like, overlap and stuff now. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was worried that it was just going, like, I had a tiny little fear that it was going to be just this guy, so we wouldn't have any Spirit Guardians do anything cool. But, yeah, okay, so they're all back, for sure. I do appreciate this interplay, though. Like, the hard contrast from, like, the fact that they aren't a team. Like, they're all very self-centered and also centered on Lady Vodka. But they aren't, like, a team together, and she is just annoyed by them. But okay, I guess that also helps justify why we got a Charmy color page, because her fight's not over yet. Like, it's actually pretty rare for us to get multiple girls teaming up in Black Clover. Like, multiple girls teaming up that aren't just on a team together, like, usually. So it's nice. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Like, I'm not super excited to see them all come back, because it's not like I liked any of these villains very much. Like, they were good as one-shot enemies. But if we're doing all these fights again, I am excited to see how we mix things up. Because, like, Yuki Tabata has many things, but he wouldn't just do the fights again. Like, they have to get back up or something. There's no way it would just be, you know, here are the gimmicks, okay, here are the gimmicks again. That is not his style. Yeah, I'll slip that right below Act Dodge. I think that's... yeah, sure. Next, we have Moriking Chapter 5. So, last week... okay, actually... So, before I say what happened in the chapter last week, I do want to talk about this, which I freaked out over last week. Like, the little character bios right at the start of the chapter. Like, that's such an old manga thing to do. It feels so weird seeing that in, like, a modern series. Like, not as weird as it could be, because for a while when English Jump existed as, like, you know, a digital magazine, they would always take this white page over here and, like, put a bio thing here. So, I still, like, vaguely, like, I still have that in my mind of, oh yeah, when you read manga, sometimes they do that. But it's been a long time since I've seen it happen, like, on this page, actually. Like, on this side. Especially for a series like Moriking, which... like, I feel like you could read a random chapter of Moriking without knowing the characters' names, and you'd still get it. It's still fine. Anyways, last week we were introduced to the second contender for the crown of the Insect King. She was a co-worker at Shoko's place, like a new girl, and she is a praying mantis girl. So, all we really saw for praying mantis-ness were, like, her two antennae. But I presumed last week that she also has to have, like, giant sickle-like claws that she pulls out. She's always wearing gloves, too. So I imagine, like, they are always there under the gloves, but she wears the gloves to, you know, not show them off. Oh, I'm excited to see how this fight's gonna go down. Because we have been saying, like, since Chapter 1, it's been treated as a fight. But we haven't really had, like, combat between king candidates or anything yet. Yeah, I mean, if I were a kid, I would definitely come. Okay, so it's not, like, actual, like, blades like I was thinking of. It is just, like, the spines on the blades. But she also has, like, the crazy Zoro-esque cutting ability. But yeah, I'm not totally sure how these, how they're gonna match up. Like, is it just that Moriking is strong enough that he can, like, tackle her to the ground? Although they did say sumo style, which would imply just pushing her far away. Ah. See, I was thinking that just, like, his backpack would be that strong, because he does have, like, the backpack that is his wings, his carapace. I kind of figured the rest of him was normal human, but I guess not. I guess, physically, like, how does he feel to the touch? Does he feel extremely hard if you touch any part of his body? I guess he must, because, like, we have the shine thing here. Not nearly as cool as I thought it was going to be. Though, I guess she is meant to be, you know, the first ally character. In which case, like, usually you do show off, like, a lot of their power, though, and then they downgrade over time. But I guess this could be a way of showing off that, yeah, she's strong, but not strong enough to hurt Moriking, but still dangerous to anyone else. Right. I mean, we've been following Moriking, so, we've known this entire time, yeah, sure, if he wins, it's gonna be fine. He's going to make everything okay. But yeah, there is the potential for an evil king. And even if you yourself are not evil, it's still worth, you know, stepping up in case there is an evil king. Like, even if you don't want to rule, at the very least, you can spare your people from being killed. I mean, they were friends, so maybe she'll just be a girl for a while. And, like, she's not she does have a job. She can sustain herself, so there's really no problem to letting her just walk around to do whatever. I'm really happy that Shoko now gets to have something else apart from just being the girl who screams no anytime anything happens. Like, she has something that could be a gag, like just Oka doing stuff around. Like, she could have the usual Moriking, oh no, that's not what you do in human life joke. But she could also just, you know, be a little more empathetic towards insects. They could have a thing where, you know, she meets some other members of Oka's family who are actual tiny insects. Like, I could see some cool stuff coming out of this. Nothing special, though. Like, this would have had a chance of going real high if there was more of a fight. Even though it is a gag series, like, it's not a gag series that makes me do the big haha, but I do enjoy it. Like, it does make me happy every time I read a chapter. So, just hoping it can elevate itself sometime soon. Next we've got the live stream. So, before then, let's make sure I'm still recording. I am still recording. Now it's time to do this. Pew. But anyways, enough dilly-dallying. Next is Yugen's All-Ghoul Classroom Special One-Shots. So, I assume this is a pun on All-Girls Classroom. Like, he is a teacher, and he's teaching a class, but the class is all zombies or something. Also, I am glad that this mangaka can do, like, more detailed arts. Like, this combined with Ghost Rider Time Paradox, really, it feels good. After a lot of very, like, clean, very, like, simple webgen style manga as of late. It's nice. Yeah, this color page is really, really good. So I wonder if it... if it's not, like, if he is just taking random cases, then maybe it is more of a, like, I don't know. Oh, this is the all-girl school. Also, I genuinely don't know if this is going to be a comedy or not. Like, the basic setup of it feels like it's going to be a, you thought it was going to be gross, but no, it's a comedy. Also, yeah, that is really weird. That, like, I do know that even now that Viz has said we're translating everything in Jump, they still don't translate a lot of the one-shots. And also, like, the 4 Koma collections, like Watashi wa Hero Academia and stuff. But those, I get it. Those are kind of super quick. A lot of people might not really care about them. But why don't they do all the one-shots? Sure.
To be fair, how often has anybody ever said, you have to read this one-shot, go to Viz? Whereas how many times have people said, hey, there is this new series, go read on Viz, go read on Manga Plus, whatever.
Right, it's true.
Burn the Witch, maybe the only time.
Yeah, I'd say Burn the Witch was probably the highest profile one-shot they've had.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't do the Psyche one-shot. They know how popular Psyche anime is, and they didn't do, not the Psyche one-shot, but the one-shot by Asuo.
Right, it's...
Assuming it ran a Jump, it seemed like it did.
Also, Damage, you're not wrong. I didn't say it because I was still reading all the text, but this is legitimately just Erina with dyed hair. I mean, considering who's drawing this, I imagine this whole thing is going to feel very Dojin-esque. Okay. So, I mean, his gimmick seems to be that he doesn't, he likes ghost girls, but is it just he likes girls that aren't traditionally attractive anyways? That Ahoge is doing insane things. Also, this is a pretty strong double standard. I'm so surprised I guess this isn't an all-girl school, because that looks like a guy. Yeah, like, it seems like there's some guys in the background. But still, yeah, he does not fit the feel of the school at all. Is this pricey? To be fair, I guess I don't know cars very well. But this doesn't stand out as, like, a super pricey-looking car to me. Yeah, you're right, actually. This is the, this does look like the, teacher's lounge. This feels like grounds for getting fired. I mean, Onizuka's different. Oh, boy. That's a cool effect. Like, the evil, like, the dark miasma just seeping out of her mouth. So I wonder where we're going with this. Like, is she cursed? Like, is it a curse that a student placed upon her? Or is it that she did something really bad and now she's being, like, righteously haunted by an evil spirit? I mean, we're building up how she is an incredibly good person, which makes me feel like it's going to be the twist of she isn't. Because that could also be, like, I could see it being a good theme for the one-shot of he likes people who, look really terrifying because he knows that you can look terrifying and be really good on the inside. Whereas, like, you can look super immaculate and be a disgusting person on the inside. So, that hits home way harder than I was expecting. Like, she is just completely overstressed by schoolwork. The flavor of this conversation does feel very Onizuka-esque. Like let us very clearly explain this this mindset that our school has in a way that clearly shows that it is awful and wrong, but we're just going to do it, and then at some point sexy teacher's going to fix it, or not fix it, but sexy teacher's going to expose this. And even that, yeah, so she is, the one pure teacher. Oh, that's actually an interesting way to take it. Like, the fact that she doesn't have any, dark pastimes or anything is a sign that she does care about the reputation of the school. Or rather, she cares about the school in general. Which does enforce the idea that, this pressure cooker isn't inherently bad. Like, it does create a standard that people want to strive towards, which, I'm a little mixed on that one. But sure. Where could it be? I can only imagine it would be in the school somewhere. Is this her inner voice, perhaps? Like, is this something that she would write, but she can't even bear to write it in her own diary? Like, this was already too much for her to allow to keep in her diary, let alone this. This is a good creepy atmosphere. Jeez. Ugh. What is that supposed to be? Is that hair, or is that like, muscle tissue? Yeah, I gotta hand it to the artist. That is a good design. With her hair completely white like that, it just looks like Erina's design. Like, it doesn't have the enormous amounts of disgusting detail that Junji would put into a design like... I don't really have anything to say about the exercising part of this. Like, as people who have been on the channel for a long time know, I don't really like Exorcist series. Like, just because, on average, I'm very burnt out on them. No matter how long it is between the last one and the newest one, I always feel burnt out by them. They're so common, and they do, like, the same thing so often. So, unless Yugen has, like, a really neat... I mean, the Heigo is interesting. The Heigo actually looks like a horn at this point. So there could be something there. I kept on saying a Heigo, didn't I? I meant a Hoge. But, unless he has a really neat gimmick, I'm probably not going to be super into his fighting style. Huh, so he is literally seeing inside of her. Oh, that's what that's supposed to be. Okay, so that is supposed to be, like, her actual spirit. Also, I guess that means, yeah, like, this is physically her body. Like, her body has separated and grown extra legs and all that. Like, is this a familiar? I guess it is. Like, yeah. It looks like it is the tie splitting apart and then... Or not even splitting apart. It's just sort of, like, generating this person. I honestly like it more that... Like, there is no name for this that he's screaming. Like, whatever this is, it is... Like, we, as the audience, are being allowed to just look at it and understand, like, yeah. Whatever kind of spirit this is, he is just wrapping its hair around and then using it to tear open... Yeah, the, There's an air of mystery to it that I really like. Yeah, I'll admit it. That's a good gimmick. Ah, yeah. It is 100% just a Food Wars page. Oh, boy. What is this? See, I liked it when it was just implied, but when she says it directly, it feels a little too heavy-handed. So this is how she's, like, venting her frustration with all the pressure being put upon her. Like, in a way that is flaunting the rules, but just a tiny bit. Like, just enough to satisfy her. Oh no, Zaku, don't say that. Because now you've said it, you're not wrong. The danger of this, of course, is that if it isn't just he likes people that look ugly, if it is he likes, the shine of their insides, that does mean he's gonna hit on these kids. Oh no! See, this part feels less like a one-shot and more like the start of a series. And yeah, you're not right. Yeah, it is, your soul is hot. It's just that the hotness of the soul does seem to correlate to, I guess, your internal happiness. Like, not necessarily you being a good person, but just your personal desire to express yourself, I guess, maybe. Like, it's not even happiness per se, because her soul was shining very brightly when she was being, trapped by the monster. God, I mean, I would not, if this were a series, I probably would not pick it up for an ongoing series. But that's a personal thing. Like, if you like Exorcist series, if you like, teacher reforming a delinquent class series, I guess they're not even delinquent class, though. They are just... It is just a teacher reforming a non-delinquent class. Or I guess just, what I mean is really just helping out kids with their problems. Rather than reform at all. Like, it's more akin to Assassination Classroom than something like Onizuka. But yeah, like, definitely a good one-shot. Like, it's gotta go to the very top of my current list of stuff that I've read. As a one-shot, it was very fun. And it did have that Food Wars flavor to it. Like, their male-female, stuck-up, super aloof dynamic, very similar to the main dynamic in Food Wars. The designs were good, the art was good, the writing was fine. Yeah, I don't regret reading it for sure. I don't know if I would say you gotta read it, but I do think it was a good one-shot. Now, would I have wanted the Yankee one-shot more? Probably. That sounds really dope. But this is fine. Alright, next we've got Time Paradox Ghostwriter, Chapter 2. The Story That Couldn't Stop. Yeah, if you haven't seen Chapter 1, I do want to say, actually, because my reaction to Chapter 1 got lost, I really liked Chapter 1. Like, I really appreciated that all the characters in Chapter 1 are flawed to some degree. Like, there's an immediate problem in Chapter 1 of, the way this is set up. The fact that he is getting Future Jump and he is essentially plagiarizing Future Jump is a problem. The fact that he is a person who wants to be a big mangaka, but he doesn't have a story to tell. Like, he doesn't have a thing that is uniquely his. He just wants to write a thing that everyone loves, but he has no, he's not telling a story because he wants to tell that story. He can just crank out a new Chapter 1 after another Chapter 1 again and again, because there's nothing in there. Like, I think that's honestly really interesting. And same with his editor. Like, the fact that his editor had been with him for 5 years, and he finally snapped and said, "You suck." Like, I really appreciate that. And yeah, it is, especially with the microwave itself, very Steins Gate-y. I didn't get that at the start of this, but, once it happened, I got it. Yeah. Many stories feature what is called a point of no return. This is the moment that the protagonist has to make a fateful choice, to go back to normal life or to continue down their present course. Also, I do want to state that, of course, Jump cannot trick me. I do know that, I am, in my heart, completely secure in the knowledge that Jump is doing this because they are running out of long-running series, and they just want people to do stuff in Jump. Therefore, this is propaganda for Jump. I know that. I accept it. But I'm still excited for the series. So the big question last time was, what are the rules here? Now that he has plagiarized Future Jump, we do know that more Future Jumps have been popping out of the microwave every single week. But, what are they? Have they changed as a result of what he's done, or are they all fixed on one specific timeline? Either way, so where was it? Where was my point of no return? So it does, materialize it outward like that. Yeah, it's getting real dicey. Of those series, yeah, I saw that Kimetsu no Yaiba ended. We never learn, it's got a couple more volumes left. But it's, we know it's going to end. We were getting one volume per girl up until, we're on girl 2 of 5, essentially. So we've got 3 more volumes. The Promised Neverland feels like it's just about to snap. And I don't read Haikyuu, but I've heard that it's also, really, it's getting close to ending. So, it's getting real dicey for Jump. Not to say there aren't good things running in Jump, but right now, especially the fact that right now, it feels like half of the series running in Jump are gag series. That feels really strange. I'm so used to Jump cycling through, 2 or 3 slots of gag series. But right now, it feels like they really amped up the comedy for some reason. And I do appreciate this, that, as I said in Chapter 1, I think that, the thing that would, he would have been a much harder protagonist to empathize with if he had done it, while looking at Future Jump. If he knew it was physically there, and he plagiarized it, page by page looking at it. Knights. Like, that would have really bothered me. But the fact that he read White Knights, and then lost it, / it disappeared, and after that point, he was able to, like, recreate it from memory. Like, it's still plagiarism, but I get his idea of, I must have just imagined it. I just came up with the concepts, like, in my brain, and now I'm just going to translate it into an actual thing. Like, a lot of writers have said that something like that happens. Like, they have a dream, and they write down the dream. Or they're stuck on what they want their characters to do, and then they just have a daydream where the characters, like, do the next chapter, and then they just write down what was there, and they feel like it was beamed right into their heads. So I get it. It doesn't make me at all, like, mad at all that he did that. Yeah, I mean, the gap for Jujutsu has closed, right? So I guess I will, like, check out Jujutsu, probably not on the channel, because it is an Exorcist series. Like, I can't, plus, I do appreciate Zaku's, like, look at a lot of things. We do differ in some key aspects, but generally, if he says that he's read all of a series, and he doesn't like it at all, or he doesn't get why it's popular, I probably also won't really get it. Unless it's in that Promised Neverland / Bone Collection sort, or not Promised Neverland, We Never Learn / Bone Collection sort of area. Like, he doesn't get Harem-y stuff, sure. But Jujutsu seems like it's more of a traditional shonen. I mean, I'll check it out either way, and, like, if I get up to, like, chapter 30 or so off-channel, and I realize, oh, this is really good, then I will do reactions for it. I'm really glad that he's mad about this, or that he's upset about it, because, like, when the girl, whose name I don't even remember, I don't know if we even got it in the first chapter, but when she approaches him, inevitably, he won't freak out and say, no, this is my idea. I'm really hoping that they get to a point where they work on it together. Oh, and they're talking about this. Thank goodness. Yeah, White Knight Chapter 7, still by Itsuki Aino. So, oh man. I think she's gonna flip when she sees, like, first of all, oh man. Like, the fact that this is a miracle is also screwing her out of being, like, an incredible jump mangaka who doesn't have to do anything. Like, she could, theoretically, just rip these right out of Jump, and then just, submit them. I mean, I guess she couldn't. It'd be really strange if, like, the ads were still there, especially if they're, like, ads and, like, references to cons and stuff from the future. Like, so I guess she couldn't literally do that. And that does mean that, he can't... I was thinking that if publishing Chapter 1 was going to change the timeline, that the problem of the series would be he has to constantly, like, look at future jumps and figure out from them, like, okay, what's a good thing I could do for this chapter? Or here's some inspiration that I can then turn into this next chapter or this next arc of White Knights. Whereas, like, this is much more tempting, because it is just... the chapters exist. I can continuously rip them off forever, or at least until White Knight ends in that timeline. Oh, and that's pretty brutal, too. Like, after confronting his editors telling him that he is, like, there's nothing in him, that he, like, what he is doing is not special, none of the manga he's ever made has had any substance in it. He finally writes something that everyone says has substance, and it's not his substance. I mean... he's got to meet up with, the actual creator of White Knight at some points. But I could see an alternate thing that they'll, like, an alternate series of events in which he does White Knight, but he never actually uses any of the content in Future Jump. Or, like, he doesn't plagiarize Future Jump, but he does use stuff from Future Jump to inform what that, that special spark in the series is. I will say also, this is my preferred type of one-shot. I do like one-shots that feel like they are the start of a series. Like, they're conclusive enough to be a self-contained story, but also you want more. I enjoy that a lot more than one-shots that try to tie everything up completely at the very end. Because because of the way a manga one-shot is. Like, because a manga one-shot is usually only, like, 30, 40, like, sometimes 60 pages, but since they are relatively short for a story overall, I feel like a lot of the time they don't feel that exciting, unless there is, like, this greater implied universe to it. Whereas, like, a physical short story, like just a text short story, I can get into a lot more because there's more time to really dive deeply into what the series is about. That's a cool way to motivate him. Like, presuming that these are concepts in his mind that he felt emotional about. Like, would you not want to see this continue? And it's clearly, like, he did like the original first chapter, like, from the future. So he would want to see what happens next. That's a good way of putting it, Zaku. Like, I can definitely understand that feeling. God, this editor is so fired up. Whew, that's a lot of fan mail. Plus, like, I could see him justifying it from the perspective of, I've done this, now in 10 years, like, in our timeline, there's no way anyone's going to run this. So the only way people are ever going to be able to experience this story in our timeline is if I plagiarize it. This also does a great job of selling the excitement of putting a series in Jump and getting responses from. Oh, the fan mail almost looks like sort of a winged hat on his head here. And I do agree with this pressure. Like, there are a lot of series that have been canceled, or just, you know, series I've never seen any more of, where, even if I've forgotten the name of them, like, somewhere in my heart of hearts, I am waiting for more of it. Like, Hybrid Insector, the fan manga for Kamen Rider. Like, that's never going to get more chapters, but I still want more. I'm going to die someday and go, oh yeah, Hybrid Insector, I wish I could have read more of Hybrid Insector. I wish more of it existed. It is also, like, it's neat that he has multiple volumes. Like, it isn't just, like, because he had the break, because he went to his parents' house. There is this big stack, which means that he could, if he wanted to, like, still follow the story but editorialize it, or move things around. There's a lot he could do to assuage the guilt of ripping off the series. Yeah, I can accept that as well. Like, I wasn't a super big Hungry Joker stan. It does have a lot of stuff that I like in it, and I do think it is much more interesting as a base concept than Black Clover. But at the same time, like, I'm okay with what we got from it. Like, I do think there is some level of scumminess and dishonesty here, but I get it. I can accept him, like, deciding that this is his, like, you know, it is his duty now. He is going to just transcribe and release White Knight. And I can see, like, the inevitable, like, arc where she talks to him and says, you're full of garbage. Like, sure, you're acting as if you're being noble about this, but in the end, you're just ripping off what I was going to do. Yeah, I am still completely hooked. Like, this is honestly much higher than Yugen's. I think what I really appreciate from the series is that, like, how do I express this concept? It bothers me a lot when I, like, see Twitter threads and big Tumblr rants about, like, how this event in this series is immoral to depict. Like, it is inherently a problematic, bad thing that is happening in the series, and therefore, like, there's so many other ways you could write it without this element. And I do think in some aspects, like, sure, there are some aspects where clearly, like, the writer did something unbelievably, like, stupid. Like, something that doesn't serve the story at all and just feels super distracting. But there's also a lot of instances in which, like, a story is written, and there are some real bad things in there that don't line up with anything else, that don't really serve a purpose, but they're supposed to feel that way. And I do feel like Time Paradox Ghost Rider has that energy to it. It is outright saying, like, yeah, this is not how you publish something in Jump. This is not an okay way to be a mangaka. And that is the problem that we're tackling. Like, the characters are inherently in a bad situation. And this is a situation, like, this isn't a metaphor for ripping off, like, a metaphor for, like, breaking into a mangaka's house and stealing their stuff, or plagiarizing ideas right now. Because the future thing presents, like, a very clear distinction. A very clear problem that cannot be replicated in the real world. Which I adore. Like, it bothers me the most when people accuse sci-fi series of, you know, like, saying something really bad about, you know, racism, for instance, because they present an instance of space racism that cannot happen on Earth, or, you know, it is a problem that has no direct parallel. I think that's fine. I think it's fine to present a problem that the world hasn't seen before, and then present a solution that works only with that problem, that you can in some way apply to other things, but not quite. And I think this is an example of that exactly. This is a problem that can't, like, whatever the solution is to this, it is not a solution that then you could then, like, apply to other Jump mangaka. This is extremely, unbelievably unique. Beastars is actually a really good example. I was just about to say Zootopia. Also, I just caught up on Beastars, so it's fresh in my mind. Like, there are so many things that happen in Beastars that do parallel, you know, problems on Earth, like human problems. But the society of Beastars is also completely alien relative to ours. Like, not completely, I guess. There are some things that are very similar. But there's a lot there that you cannot do a one-to-one with. What else do I want to say about it? I mean, the fact that I ranked it so high is really... there's also the fact that right now there's not a whole else that I want to like pull out of the series. Right now it is very honest. There aren't a lot of like other themes that I haven't covered, and most of the things I covered in chapter 1 were then directly addressed in chapter 2. So I'm not going to drag it out. It's a good series. I'm excited to read more. Next we have Bone Collection, Chapter 4. I want to execute. Chapter 4 will determine whether I keep it here or whether I move it to the pre-recordeds, by the way. Because I know Zaku doesn't like it, but I also don't trust your opinion 100%. So at the very end of this chapter, everyone let me know, does this move or not? I will accept your criticisms and or non-criticisms.
Everyone vote yes to spite Zaku.
Oh no! Yeah, I've been liking Reno as a character a lot more than in the last couple of chapters. Or I guess just in Chapter 1. Chapter 1, she was the most blah thing in existence. I'm glad that she now has a personality, and she is kind of a bad person. Or not a bad person, but she is like very clearly stuck up as a result of being so talented. Ah, the classic shonen, here's a bunch of food tactic. Which I imagine is going to be countered by the other classic shonen move of, I ate all the food instantly. They even have Uber Eats! I do look at most, like, series from the perspective of, like, if it hasn't been presented in universe, it doesn't exist. Like, I try not to take things from our world and put them into other universes, especially something like this, where it is so clearly, like, influenced by exorcists always existing, by, like, magic and ghosts and yokai always existing in this world. So I am glad that Uber Eats does exist in this parallel universe. Oh, that's a good chibi pyra. Or chibi fat pyra. You fool. How did she get here like that? Because also, like, the rice and the eggs over rice, like, all of these are completely undisturbed, so she didn't stack them or anything. What happened? I do think the designs in the series are worse the bigger they are. Like, there are the big designs, and then, like, when they're slightly, smaller, and then there's, like, these shots where they're not chibi, but there's, like, being shot from a distance. Then there's the actual chibi shots. All, like, whenever they're small, I think the designs are really charming. I would be okay if Bone Collection was a series where, like, I don't know if this is a thing anyone's ever done, but, like, if you were to subdivide... let me pull out the... Yeah. If you were to subdivide each page and jump into quarters, and then each of these quarters was a different, like, entire page. Like, if the first 4 pages of the series were all here, like, page 1, or I guess it would be page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. So all the art was just smaller. I think that would make the series a lot more charming. Wait, who is she saying this to? There are 25 yokai that are ranked S or above. They are known as yokai rulers. It was said that they were created out of the yokai spell. Okay, so she was saying it to him. She was saying, you don't know that there are 25 ranked S or yokai, even though you are an exorcist. I mean, to be fair, he probably doesn't know, but still. I think this panel does sum up why I like her as a character. Like, it is the combination of crying and also being unbelievably snooty about it. I guess I do want it to be a forecomer for people with bad eyesight. But okay, this actually does, like, this is the big explanation for why everyone is so mad about the yokai spell. Like, up until now, I haven't gotten it, apart from just a general, like, exorcist and yokai are not friends. But okay, if the prevailing theory in this world is that, like, the yokai spell came before exorcists, like, if the yokai spell created yokai, and if you use an exorcist spell enough, you become a yokai, like, a yokai spell enough. Like, that makes sense. If it is completely forbidden because, like, yokai wouldn't exist if not for the yokai spell. Or at least they wouldn't be here. Because that would also, like, present a problem for him. Like, not just that he is going to slowly become a yokai as a result of overusing the spell, but also he is going to, like, make the world worse. Okay, so there are exorcist kings and yokai rulers. So, like, we got the big, the big boys for each side now. You're not wrong, actually, Lamp. Like, yeah. What? Because it was an exorcist. Why was he around if the yokai didn't exist? So I could see either, like, the yokai spell being used on humans. Because also, like, why, like, he wouldn't try it because, like, any human being he would use the yokai spell on would then rat him out for using the yokai spell. I wonder if we're going to get into the idea that, like, the boundary between human and yokai is actually just very malleable. Like, they are ultimately the same species. I could see that happening. Especially since, like, Pyra's goal is, like, not to just depower herself and then live peacefully. She has phrased it as, she wants to become human. And if that isn't just a misunderstanding, like, she doesn't know everything. She could be wrong. But if what she's saying is actually true, if she can become a human by using up all of her yokai energy, then it would, stand to reason that being a human / being a yokai are not, like, it's not a biological thing. They are the same thing. Ugh. Boy, I do like the reaction faces a lot of the time, but boy, that one's, I mean, it does have the thing she does with her lips a lot that I like, but the whole package is a bit off-putting. It is a strong face, but I don't know if it's a face I like. How did Pyra get into this position? Because it does seem like the reason why she isn't immediately going over there is because she needs to finish the food. But then how did the food get on her at this position? What happened? What did she do? I mean, I guess she does have the magic carpet yokai, so it could have just dropped her off here while she was balancing the food on her body. So never mind. I guess there is a potential explanation. Oh yeah, they established that. I completely forgot about that last chapter. Wait, did he actually use an exorcist ability? Okay. Whew. For a minute there, I thought he was actually, becoming competent as an exorcist. Also, that's an Oni, really. I mean, I'm glad it does have a more unique look than just the traditional Japanese Oni. Not sure if I like it, though. Like, is that supposed to look like bandaging, or is it just a weird stripe pattern? Yeah, there's no real, like, bandagey texture on it, so I'm going to assume it's supposed to just be stripes. I don't think this mangaka does very well with, like, detail on, like, normal drawn bodies, which is also why I like the more small bodies a lot more. Also, knowing that this person was an assistant on, The Last Sayuki does make me very sad, because I imagine, like, I don't think we ever got an Oni in The Last Sayuki, but if we did, the Oni would have looked really rad. Oh, is she finally done? Oh, there's Abe. He's one of the 4 Exorcist Kings. I mean, I guess that's why we established it in this chapter. Okay, and they have some history already, so if they wanted to do a chapter 2, I guess they could do a big fake out of, you thought she was gonna get in trouble, but actually, it's fine. He's just real, like, horny for her or something. Also, did he maybe summon the Oni? Okay, whoa! Oh no, this position looks really bad. I also do appreciate that we keep on seeing his Kappa friends. Like, it seems to be in reference to whenever he wants to use the Exorcist spell. Or I guess when he just thinks about the balance between humans and yokai in general. I mean, it's also very refreshing that it's chapter 4, and he's already saying it, like, right here in front of Reno. Like, the facade is being broken very quickly. Plus, he's doing it, presumably, in front of one of the 4 Exorcist Kings. So whatever the series is going to be, it's not going to be a, we gotta do everything in private and hope no one sees. Though I guess it could be. It could be a, this is the point in the series where he gets slapped on the wrist, it becomes, like, extremely important for him not to get caught, and therefore things have to be much more secretive. But I can't imagine them going to what we'd established in Chapter 1 as the potential status quo after this. There's no way. Overall, pretty solid. Like, how does this rank in reference to everything else this week? I mean, it was a good Black Clover, so I feel like between Actage and Black Clover. Yeah, it is, like, it's pretty unoriginal. But again, it's an Exorcist series. I will allow you guys to determine, as of right now, what happens to Bone Collection. Does it go into pre-recordeds? Does it not? Should I just drop it all together? I will give you all 3 of those options. Actually, let me make a poll. Let me do a poll. It does bother me. The first couple of things that show up when I type in strawpoll.com are strawpoll.com bots, strawpoll.com votebot, strawpoll.com hack, and then strawpoll.com K-pop, strawpoll.com votebot 2019. You know, that's not bad, Zaku. That's also a lot less hard to game, and we do get to see what everyone voted for. So you know what? Sure. Now, what emotes are what? Because either way, like, even if I said drop, like, I would want to read it off screen anyways. And if, if it gets good, I would put it back on. Pants. Then live stream equals... it's gotta be Crazy Thermites. Also, if I do see a bunch of, like, new accounts on the server that they're all named, like, Chuck, and they're all voting for one thing, I'm gonna know that it was, there's some vote manipulation going on. But anyways, I'll move on from now, and we'll look at this at the very end of this. Or, like, maybe in, like, a chapter or two of something, but let's not wait around, because there's so much more to read. Next we have Undead Unluck, Chapter 17. Yeah, perfect. Oh, exam. I said 17. It didn't quite work out, but it's fine. It's fine. So, at the end of last chapter, the entire Union dropped in, which I didn't think about until right now, but this is sort of a parallel to when Andy first teleported into the Union and then immediately tried to kill all of them. I'm really excited to see what they do. Like, this is going to be a good way to show off their abilities in general, while at the same time, because it seems like Victor has some sort of negating negator's ability. Some sort of, like, double negation. I imagine that, like, we won't have to, like, they don't have to hold back. They don't have to have an excuse for why, oh, I didn't use this ability that would have taken him out immediately, because they literally couldn't. Orb Guy's scary. Shota Boy is... I don't feel comfortable looking at him. He does not feel like it's legal to look at him. Samurai Man looks scary. This guy, I can't get a read on what his thing is. Okay, they're not just plummeting. Like, at least one of them definitely has a floating ability. I imagine Creepy Smile Man. Zaku, it is because he's sucking on his thumb. Like, at the very end of last chapter, he was also sucking on his thumb. And, like, in general, I'm okay with characters that have that Shota look to them. But if they do anything, like, it's too Shota. It's too Shota. I can't deal with this level of Shota. It's not okay. You're right, actually. Which, in most theories, I would take that to just be maybe big pecs, maybe weird arts. But in Undead Unluck, I could see it being that Char just, like, you can't tell. Or there is some binding going on, but because of the shot, the binding isn't working very well. Or something like that. That said, I don't... correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've gotten, like, any pronouns either way for Char. And of course, being manga, we don't have a voice. So, like, this could be a guy or a girl. I don't know. I assumed guy just because of, the helmet. Because I was thinking of, the various Char clones in Gundam. Also, I do, like, the aesthetic of the big crack in the sky will never get old to me. It is very, like, Bleach had that aesthetic a couple times. Not that often, like, not enough for me to really adore it, but I do think of it as a classic, like, Bleach thing, as opposed to just a general, crack in reality sort of thing. Now, is this the classic parts bullet, or is it the me bullet? the parts bullet that then turns into it's just more victors. So we've seen the barriers before, like, yeah. I guess that is, yeah, that's her ability. Also, like, I can't think of it as, what is this person negating? What is this person negating? Because also, they have special technology, and they have, artifacts. So, all of their fighting styles could be a combination of all sorts of different things. Like, I don't imagine that, like, Ball Robot Girl, I don't imagine that this is an artifact. I do think it is just advanced technology. Oh, no, Zaku. That's not allowed. Like, the mangaka is clearly willing to push what someone would say with, with, like, unchange. Like, no one uses the word unchange. But it is valid in the context of, unchanged. I don't think the mangaka is wild enough to go for unified as an unword. Yeah, it's a good combo. Like, for anyone... Whoa, boy! That's so cool! I'm not going to say I haven't seen that. I feel like I've definitely seen a series where the panel, or like where the speech bubble has been cut. But I can't think of one right now. Zaku, no! Voice chat is getting too cursed. It's not allowed. I don't want this. Huh. Does he have, like, an anti-regenerative ability? So that does imply that Andy himself would, like, be in big trouble against someone who just has fire powers. Like, both because Andy can't choose how he regenerates, but also, I mean, first of all, that's a good thing to note in general. Andy can't choose how he regenerates, so he can't just say, I'm going to regenerate from this tiny part of my body and let the big part die. Whereas Victor presumably can. But also, like, is there an amount of burning you could inflict upon Andy, at which point he would die? This to me implies that, like, maybe not, but at the very least, you could burn him enough to the point where he would be immobile, or he wouldn't be able to do anything of value. Oh, Lamp, if you hadn't said that, I would not have realized that this was a pun. That's good. That is really good. I mean, I imagine Victor probably does have a lot of memories of all of the Union, or of, you know, some of the Union. What could he be negating if, A, it seems to manifest right now as super speed, but also it wasn't immediately apparent as super speed when he originally got it? Unstoppable. I could see that being, like, if it's something he can't, like, turn on or off, like if it is just a self-negation that he had a lot of trouble with, I could see that being really bad. Like in a, you know, I'm slowly drilling myself down to the core of the earth and I can't stop sort of thing. You know, a Juggernaut situation. This shot of Victor is so final boss-esque. Like, specifically the lack of effort he puts into blasting off his fingers, having them reform as more hymns. So strong! Okay, yeah, that is extreme speed. Okay, and yeah, this scene makes me think that, yeah, Unstoppable is a very good guess. Because it doesn't seem like he can, like, he didn't do the you know, the normal Flash thing, or the normal Quicksilver thing of very fast, and then stop dead, you know, in order to show how much control they have. If he's continuously running around, then it's quite possible he cannot stop. Or he has to burn off the energy, or he has to slowly slow down. Yeah, like, Unstoppable, presumably, like, depending on how far he goes, he could do the run around the earth in order to build momentum, punch, and then, you know, as you're punching, you know, go around the world again and again, punch. That is completely possible, depending on, like, the limits of his ability. Or I guess the limits of his physical body. Like, we should assume that Unstoppable is literally unstoppable, but then can his body handle running around the earth 7 times in, you know, a few minutes? Also, this does bring up the question of how the card works. Like, it does seem like, you know, Victor may have come out before. Andy has definitely pulled out the card for, you know, like, in Chapter 1, he pulled it out very briefly, then stuck it right back in. So, is the card itself special? Or is it just that, you know, that specific part of his brain is the big Victor part that he has to stop? Let me just make sure I'm still recording. I just had a big... Yeah, okay, good. I'm sure that easy to stop, then she would have been killed some time ago. I mean, yeah... His name is Toph. Okay, yeah, I see why the theory of him being unstoppable is there. Because, yeah, it's also it's such a small fragment of a word that it could be a lot of different things, but unstoppable is, yeah. I mean, Zaku, devil's advocates. If he slams into the wall, and it does move, but it's moving very slowly, it's not stopping him. It is slowing him down. But that does still fulfill the requirements of being unstoppable. So it could be, like, you know, he pancakes himself into a wall, and then he does, like, the momentum still sort of slowly pushes him through the wall, but in that, in the meantime, his, you know, the entire contents of his body get destroyed as they are squished into the wall, until he is a pancake. Okay, his entire body is made up of artifacts. I guess that does open up the possibility of, you know, big ball robot girl potentially just being a big artifact or something. I don't think Samurai Guy is unbreakable. I imagine Unbreakable probably is... Oh, he's got to be in the Union. Or maybe not. Because the rule is that, like, for each mission, only, like, a certain number of people are allowed to go. But both Shen and Andy had unbreakable weapons. So, clearly, like, having unbreakable stuff does not mean that Unbreakable is with you on the party. So I could see it being that he is, like, not a member of the Union, because if he weren't a member of the Union, that would just, you know, he would take up a slot that could be given to someone else who can go out more often. Whereas, like, having him not be in the Union allows them extra slot, and it allows them to, you know, to all get stuff from the same person. So that's not even a negator ability, or, like, it's not been enchanted by a negator thing. It is the power of an Uma. So that would imply that, I mean, Uma Burn has to be around, otherwise fire wouldn't exist. Sure. Or fire might exist, but maybe it's a kind of fire that can't burn you. Either way, that point's moot. Uma Burn does still exist, and I guess they may have just, like, taken some of its unquenchable flame and dipped Leader Man's sword in it. What were their missions, actually? That's a good point. I feel like Uma Burn did come up. Yes, it was. Captures the Uma Burn, participant count 6, reward addition of 11 seats. So if they did capture Uma Burn, then they could have just dipped the sword in it. And that would also explain why Andy was so shocked, like, this isn't something he's seen before. Or, he's seen the ability of Uma Burn before, but he hasn't, like, he would be unaware that they would have had, you know, the ability to use any of its flames. Yeah, that's very exciting if that is, in fact, like, if they've completed this, because that means off-screen they have now created the existence of an 11th seat. Which is good in the sense that, hey, they can get another negator, they could have a mission that is just picking up, they had, reward location of negator on repair. So they could immediately go on this mission and pick up on repair and then not have to fight them or anything. They could just immediately add them to the Union. But, counter problem, it kind of feels a little bittersweet that now Gina died for, not for nothing, but she died when they didn't necessarily need to kill her. Because, like, so shortly afterwards, they would have had an 11th seat. I could see the kid being, like, unaffected, maybe? But I also imagine that they didn't make him out of artifacts out for fun. Like, he probably does need a entirely artificial body for some reason. Unfazed? Unnatural, maybe? Like, he has a negator ability that negates... Now, risk avoidance seems... Like, I don't know how unnatural would relate to being risk avoidance. I could see that, too. Like, the Union isn't heartless. So it could be a situation where they found a kid who, you know... Like, they found a kid and replaced his body, or even, like, some, like, it seems like Apocalypse is an artifact. So he could be an artifact head attached to more artifact pieces. Oh, yeah. We really have not brought up the Clothuma at all. Is that supposed to be its face, actually? Like, right there? Yeah, that's a face. So, Fuku's wrapping her tie around his neck. Oh, okay, I get it. So the tie is to allow her to attach herself to Andy. Then she's ripped open her like the front of her outfits, the front of her dress shirts, thus revealing her boobs. So now she's achieving maximum direct contact from the upper part of her body. Oh, you're right. The sensor bar is back. It's been a while. I am a little disappointed that the sensor bar seems to be the exact same size whether it's Andy or Victor. I was kind of hoping that would be bigger for Victor. I'm not sure how mechanically that would work, but I kind of wanted it to happen. Is that supposed to be her shirt being wrapped around him? Because I can't see anything apart from the tie. Right? Like, it's just the one strip and then her shirt's open. Also, knowing that she has pulled her shirt apart here, like, that might be one of the biggest, like, shots we've seen of one of her breasts, like, in terms of, like, maximum size affected by gravity, which means that it's pretty darn big. Now, here's a question. If Victor were to snap a finger off, throw it away, and then completely regenerate himself from just the finger, like, which one of them would be hit by the unlock? Like, would this Victor, being the one maintaining contact, would it be hit by unlock? Or would the finger, having separated and turned into the main Victor, would it then suffer from the unlock? Both is also a possibility, because they are all Victor. They're all, theoretically, the same person. But, that's not really the case, because it seems like it's cloning, in which case they are, like, the moment they each express, you know, some level of individuality. Like, the moment any of them have a thought, even if it's all the same thoughts, they are expressing their own individuality. Their own minds exist, independent of one another. But then again, like, the powers of negators aren't fair. They're not based upon fairness, or even, like, the precise... it seems like they are just, you know, fundamental forces of nature, and then the negation of those forces of nature. Yeah, okay, that's a pretty good indication of her size. Also, that is a post-mortem dunk on Gina. Like, even in death, she can't escape the fact that everyone says she's flat. Which she is, but still, she dead. You know, give her a break. I don't know how Fuko could possibly give her a break, because that is just a consequence of her physical body, but still. I mean, here's also the question. Like, is the act of shooting a clone, like, does that... Like, is that him losing contact with Fuko? Because her boobs are not, like, they haven't stopped touching him, but there is a him that now exists that is not touching her. That's what I find extremely, like, fascinating about it. Man, Undead Unluck is fantastic. Like, I already really love this arc, but the fact that we've just kind of transitioned over from, you know, the spoil arc to a mini Victor arc is, it's so good. And we got enough of all the, all the members of the Union without really showing off what they can do, without actually showing off anything the leader does, since the only thing we've seen from him/her is something that they've presumably just gotten. Like, it's such a perfect balance of, I got some stuff, I have something to chew on, but also I'm not being spoiled with information. It's, perfect. That goes right to the top. Like, I try to not rank these in terms of, like, is the entire arc good? Because sometimes you got a bad chapter in the middle of an arc. Sometimes you have a really good chapter in the middle of a bad arc, like, sure. But this is, like, it is genuinely a super hype chapter that I adore. In the middle of an arc that I also adore. It's, yeah. What is Billy's ability? Because I'm also thinking potentially, like, the ricochet thing might not just be a way to improve the effectiveness of his bullets. It might also just be that he can't aim. Whereas, like, using the barriers to make the bullets bounce around would allow the bullets to maybe hit the enemy. That's a good one. Okay, that's enough. That's enough dilly-dallying. I can hear myself saying the usual things I say when I want to stall for time, which I don't. I don't want to stall for time, but I just kind of end up doing it anyways. I'm doing it now. Oh no, let's move on. Next we have Chainsaw Man, Chapter 70, Pinch. Aw, yeah. If there's one thing I say when I say Chainsaw Man, it's 70 inches. That is the length of Denji's main chainsaw, of course. Anyways. I mean, she looks kind of done, but also she has the power of darkness, and she has the power of the Doll Devil. Like, it might be a little too long, you know, it might be a little too soon to start extinguishing the power of lights. Okay, I'm pretty hype, homie. Okay. I have a contract with the Doll Devil, and my dolls are scattered all over the world. With a mere touch, anyone can be made into a doll and become the assassin called Santa Claus. Okay. So, it wasn't, like, it's not that the old man was a doll the whole time, and that the girl was the real Santa Claus. It's also not the case that she was always a doll, or the real Santa Claus. I think it is that he was initially, like, just a person that at the time happens to be the real Santa Claus and a doll. And then she became a doll, or she was already a doll, she became the assassin of Santa Claus, so on and so forth. Which is pretty exciting. Like, this is a power that I can't see anyone going, like, you can't really beat it if at any point, like, if it is just that thought thing of, a doll exists, I'm going to just become that doll now. Denji's so stupid. Like, this is a good Denji panel. It's a good combination of, he thinks this is a cool line, but it's not cool. It's not a good line at all. Also, the fact that we have the big, you know, I am a big hive mind, I will live forever, I will continue to evolve using the power of darkness, it makes me feel like it's not going to happen. Like, I think Doll Devil's going to die here. How? I'm not totally sure. I'm going to guess that it is Denji kills this doll, which also destroys the power of darkness. Like, the power of darkness, the darkness devil's flesh may not be as transmittable as this person's minds. So that person's mind goes away. Denji does destroy the darkness goo, and then Makima kills all the dolls that exist on the planet. Yeah, I do, like, this is a person who has a contract. They are not, in fact, the doll devil. I mean, it is a profoundly scary idea. Go on, make me use my imagination. Dumb it down so even an immortal like me'll understands. Because, I mean, Denji is the kind of person who would appreciate, like, going back to Eternity Devil. Like, the implication of just being chainsawed forever, always, for all eternity. And I don't think he cares. You gotta just do it to him. He cannot, he cannot comprehend the overarching deep fear of, this will happen forever. Okay, so Cosmo is Halloween Girl. Now, what is this ability? Because she did, like, she has Halloweened people before. It's like, she has just made them, like, accept things, I guess. Like, like at the sushi restaurants. So she's gotta be, like, the Brain Devil or the Thought Devil or something like that. T-H-O-U-T-A... Oh no, I don't remember how to spell thoughts. T-H-O-U-G-H-T. Yes. As opposed to, of course, T-H-O-T. Though I guess she is, in theory, both. Oh boy. Is this a Kamehameha? Oh boy. Yes, I see. Halloween. What is this? So, like, initially I thought it was going to be Makima, but if this fiend is capable of destroying all the dolls across the world, because yeah, if they are a hive mind, theoretically, you infect the hive mind, you wipe them all out at once. Like, it's as much weakness as it is a strength when dealing with mind-related abilities. Like, that would make Kwanzi a lot cooler if, she and her harem are that powerful. Which, I mean, we've already seen she's powerful. We just haven't really seen a lot of good feats from her harem. Ah, this is full... I mean, it's not, but it does have the same feeling as Philip's book dimension. The keywords are Halloween. Okay, so she can, like, say actual things in this world. Interesting. You are about to acquire total understanding of everything in the universe. Jeez. Also, I didn't really react to it at all, but the fact that she is the Cosmos Fiend is pretty wild. Like, the brain imagery then isn't, like, it's not that her ability has anything to do with brains. It's that she has, like, the knowledge of the cosmos, and that is so much that her brain blew out of her head, and she tied a little bow with it, and now all she says is Halloween. I'm going to lose my mind if Cosmos says that she has, like, a 5,000 point IQ. Because of anyone in the series, she would have the most realistic claim to that, without it breaking the series. Because as we've seen, she doesn't act like a 5,000 IQ person outside of right here, right now. Everything as you understand it doesn't even fill one page of one book of this library. Jeez, this is also such a hard contrast between like, her and Denji, because I do think this might be a situation that Denji could get out of through sheer refusal to comprehend. Once you understand everything, you can only... Oh, that's so cool! You can only think of Halloween until you die. You can only think of Halloween until you die. But why? Also, this isn't you can only think of Halloween until you die, so, like, there are some differences here, but... Written by Cosmo, illustrated by Cosmo. Jeez. I mean, I do adore this. This is something that I do have to accept. I cannot comprehend this. Why would I only be able to think of Halloween until I die? Also, I wasn't thinking about it until right now, but it's not a, the fiend can only think of this in this world, but it is a, like, fiends are human beings that have been possessed by devils. Like, there is they aren't just the devil. There is a difference there. That would explain why it is that Cosmo Fiend can only say Halloween. Like, it is the fact that, the pure mind of the devil cannot shine through. Only, the fiend mind. The combination of the human and the devil. And the human's brain is completely scrambled by Halloween. This is so cool. I mean, first of all, this shot of her head burning in the fire is phenomenal. Like, Fujimoto, I mean, as you might imagine from Fire Punch, like, Fujimoto is phenomenal at drawing this super textured, like, ashy, burny, crunchy skin enveloped by the flame. Like, it's so good. Yeah, okay, Zaku, that's a good way to put it. Like, specifically the phrasing of they have to filter themselves through the human. But they are centrally the devil. Now, what is this? Like, because this is Chainsaw Man, I can't tell if this is supposed to be an act of submission, or if they're going to flex and then suddenly Quan Chi's head flies off. I mean, now, this reminds me a lot of the captives that Makima had, back when she, you know, did the big twisty to kill all those people. And I do like both of them, so, I also really appreciate this side of Quan Chi. Like, the fact that she does care that much about them. Plus, like, when she says this, she doesn't, you know, like, she is immortal. So I think that actually does enhance the amount of, you know, the amount of care she would have towards the lives of her women. Like, the fact that she knows that she can survive anything, but that she has presumably seen a lot of women die, you know, like, she has the blood of a lot of people that she has loved on her hands. Or even just, you know, like, in her mind. Yeah. I mean, this is also a good moment to just immediately get rid of Cosmo, and to make an enemy of life out of Quan Chi. Also, referencing voice chat, which I don't know how much of it is up there, but I do think that sort of like 90s, you know, tude grunge culture is very emblematic in, like, the followers of the Chainsaw. But I think it might be, I think horror fits more than just grunge culture. I think it might be that specific, like, you know, that edge that presumably the Chainsaw Devil was just murdering everything it saw in hell. To think, you know, the people who would look at that wouldn't be people who, you know, really love the aesthetic. It would be people who don't care. People who are like, yeah, that is extremely rad, and he's gonna kill me at some point, but you know what? That's still rad. Yeah, because specifically, like, Katana Man seems to, I mean, to be fair, I don't know if they said it in universe. Did they say Katana in universe at any points? But he does, like, I'm pretty sure, yeah, he is Katana specifically, and not just Knife. Which makes me think that Knife might actually be, like, part of Chainsaw's crew at some points. God. Also, like, that specific cut of, she killed both of her girls, also Quan Chi, without cutting her, her arms. I think that's also, like, if it had been the heads and the arms, that may have, like, misled us to thinking, like, is Darkness Devil or something involved here? Whereas this is, I think, like, also the fact that the cuts are a little jagged, I think are meant to show, like, just, they are the work of just a cut with a katana. Like, it is just, she decapitated all three of them. Oh, damn it, you're right. I forgot about that because she said a corpse is talking in Chinese, but yeah. Oh, that shot. Yeah, I could buy it. Because that would also explain, like, not the Clang specifically, but I think he could be, like, Sensei could be hearing it as, you know, the cut already happened, and then Quan Chi said, we surrender, and dropped her blade. Makima real scary. She's real scary. So, the entire hive mind is infected, and presumably, like, killing... Yeah, right. Like, killing Cosmo would not have changed this, because this isn't, like, a devil ability or anything. It's not like a curse or something. It is fundamentally... their minds were broken because the queen bee of sorts got, you know, her mind broken. Ah, I could see it. Like, he's the only one who's really sweating. He doesn't have the typical, like, doll eyes. So yeah, I think he's faking it. Oof, Kishibe. That's rough. Now, I guess the big question is, what are they gonna do with her? Like, just stuff her into a lab or something? I mean, she definitely has a lot of information that they could, you know, pull out of her, sure. But do they just keep her in a, like, you know, in confinement forever? Denshi Makima is truly the OTP. Not because they have any, like, real interplay together that I think is healthy, but because Makima is the only girl that's going to survive the series. Like, she is the OTP by being the only other person that exists other than Denji, or who consistently exists. I mean, I could see the big swerve of she dies at some point to really freak us out, but not for a long time. I think it'd be really cool and really thematic if Makima ended up getting number 1, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Well, I'm scared. I think Power might win. Anyways, that is Chainsaw Man. All the speculation in the comments have been really, really good. I don't really want to speculate myself, because I think you guys have covered all the main big horror things. I mean, we're not going to get a Chucky reference. I mean, we're not going to get a Chucky reference from, as Zaki said. Actually, that isn't necessarily incorrect. Like, Doll Devil is still out there at some point. We could get the, Doll Devil dies, we see what happens when a devil dies, and then as a result of the devil dying, they are reborn, and then that reborn Doll Devil becomes a stand of Chainsaw Man. I could see that happening, honestly. Like, just because they've died does not mean that the devil is out of the picture. I'm a little more hesitant to say that we're getting the Big Beach chapter. Like, this arc does seem like it's over. This is a pretty conclusive end. Like, we've taken out all the big enemies here. But I don't know if we're getting the beach. We'll see. Because it also has been, like, Chainsaw Man is pretty clear about the pattern of big arc, then a little fan service, then big arc, little fan service. Or a little fan service for Denji specifically, not necessarily for us. Like Vomit Kiss. Not sure if that's for us. To be fair, I guess Vomit Kiss, not exactly for Denji either. Everything pre-Vomit Kiss was the fan service. True. Reize and Katana Man are... I mean, Reize might have been, like, disappeared at some points, but no, because Makima was one who took care of her. So I could see a big hybrid arc where, like, Denji busts them out and they go do something. Especially if he learns what happened to Reize, actually. Like, he is in love with Makima, but I think if it was presented to him in the right way, he might be convinced to break out Reize. Anyways, that is Chainsaw Man. Where does this go? The real big fight is Chainsaw Man and Undead Unluck. Like, Undead Unluck and Chainsaw Man have been really... punching it out as the two newish... I mean, Chainsaw Man, not nearly as new as Undead Unluck, but they've been, like, big highlights of Jump to me. Oh, Weed Devil! Maybe someday we will have the infamous Weed Never Stone, but eventually. I can wait. It was more satisfying than Undead Unluck. I have to put it above Undead Unluck. And that is due to just the sheer weight of the arc, but also, like, I do think the chapter itself was just real spicy, real good. Undead Unluck was more flashy, and more, like, there's a lot there. They could really trade places, I'll just say that. They could trade places. But we'll leave it like that for now. Got 2 more series, and then, I didn't put it on here, but after all of this, I will post-record the Promised Neverlands. Because Donut hasn't read it yet, and I don't want to do it when he could walk into the room. I don't want to spoil him. So, let's move on to... whoops. Dr. Stone, Chapter 151, Dr. X. The Whoops made it through, but Dr. X did not make it through. Interesting. Also, wait. Dr. Stone did not go through! I'm gonna have to re-record this one. Usually I don't, but this one... Dr. Stone, Z equals 151, Dr. X. Okay, I'll keep it. What is this Kohaku look? Oh, Dr. X. Also, most of you haven't seen the chapter I did last week for obvious reasons. Got lost. I got spoiled on the chapter before, so it kind of was a downer, but still. How unbelievably exciting that we got the airplane, we got, like, there's real technology here that Senku didn't make. What is going on in America? I mean, the main thing, though, is, like, they're aware these people are going to shoot first and ask questions later. So how do you get to this corn? Or even how do you open up dialogue with someone who is definitely going to shoot you before anything else? Maybe they'll come up with, like, a big microphone or something? Like, just to broadcast their intents? I think that'd be cool. Okay, I get it. Like, yeah. Like, Gen would have to be there in order to make contact. I'd say this is a sci-fi double feature. If I have time, I would like to try and break up Shonen Jump as it is right now into its different genres, because I think a lot of Jump right now is like, you got the big like comedy slice, then you've got like the weird sci-fi slice, and then miscellaneous. I guess that's not that very interesting. Actually, I guess this volume of Jump would be very Exorcist heavy, because you also have Mitama Security, there's the one-shots. I would say that, as much as I don't want to say it, Chainsaw Man is as close to it's closer to an Exorcist series than it is to any of the other immediate genres that come to mind. Like, it is a series about fighting devils. But again, like, if Jujutsu Kaisen isn't very Exorcist-y, but I'm still calling it an Exorcist series, I cannot then say in good faith that I can't call Chainsaw Man an Exorcist series by the same regard. Yozakura is pretty miscellaneous. I've gone back to try and read some more Yozakura. I cannot read it. It's not good, or it's not something that appeals to me at all. This has been a theme of the arc so far. Like, the enemy has been consistently luring them in. But how does Gen trick the bullets? How does he present a good argument that stops the bullets from hitting his face? Ooh. I mean, to be fair, yeah, Gen has been kind of slacking off in terms of doing the Gen moves. So if we're gonna get, the big Gen proving himself, like, I'm excited for it. He's always been a big fave of mine. Also, thank you, Damage, for reminding me about Dr. Stone. I do need that eventually. Every once in a while, I mean. Occasionally. God, this design is so cool. Also, like, this look is very, like, almost magma-ish with, like, the big fringe. Oh, it is her. Okay, never mind. I thought it might be, like, a second character using the stuff. Classic Power Rangers villain Lord Zed is in this chapter. Wait, what? Also, is it racist to call all Japanese people samurai? I mean, were any of them using katanas? No, they weren't. So I think it's not racist, but it is a bit prejudiced to call them all samurai. Oh, I see. I see what you mean. I got it, Zaku. Oh boy, what is this leader gonna look like? Oh, wow. It's actually really, like... I mean, I guess because this is, like, it was already a very, like, flat here and then very mountainous area, like, it wouldn't be very difficult to cultivate once more. Oh boy, what is this? What is this nightmare dreamscape? It's so developed. Like, even with automation, this must have taken a long time. Like, they must have been up for, like, a decade or so. I mean, I say that, but then again, within 1 year, they were able, the Kingdom of Science was able to build the big ship, the Perseus. So maybe within, like, a year or two, it might be enough for all of this. But, like, they've got glass. Like, they've got so much glass there, and over here, too. Like, that's so much. And the person on the boat was shaded out. This person's shaded out. So I imagine we are going to see all of them at some point. I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting from the body shape. Oh, is it not a lady? I guess so, yeah. Boichi's usually very, like... This is not a design a normal female character in Boichi style would have, so okay. Sure. Oh, it's a twunk. Oh, boy. Oh, that's a cool design! Oh, and he's got the caps like, Scary Island Man. I wonder what those are for. Like, they look bolted into the tips of his fingers, too. Oh, actually, no. This is a glove. So it's probably, like, a special glove that has the tips on it. Never mind. But yeah, he's got the backpack. Backpack actually looks kind of Kingdom of Science-y almost. Like, with the colors and the jaggedness. But that could also just be, like, that could be implying that, this person went through all the same steps as the Kingdom of Science, and that backpack's lasted a long time. But everything else has been more modernized. Is that a tie? Also, the big scars are, like, so much bigger and deeper for him. Like, what happened to his head? Are they going to execute him? What is happening here? Okay, yeah. Definitely a twunk, then. Stanley Snyder. Oh boy, these names. Ah. Also, like, what a good name for, you know, the leader of this foreign country. Especially since, you know, Japan tends to think of America as being the most foreign. He gets to be, like, both he is Dr. X, but also he's Dr. Zeno. It's good. It's good. Zaku. Oh boy. But okay, if they were going to interrogate anyone, I'm glad it's Gen. Yeah, it's a lie detector. So I guess the salt water is supposed to be like, that's the EKG. But then how are they determining his breathing and his sweating? Like, they don't have a, like, they're not measuring his pulse, they're not measuring, like, his lungs at all. And sweating? Like, what could they possibly have that's measuring the amount of sweat coming off of here? Like, it can't be water displacement based on, like, the buckets. Because there's so much water in the buckets. Like, it'd be so hard, like, especially with the sploosh here. Like, the splishing and splashing is, like, already changing the amount of water in them. I mean, I'm not sure how much Gen has to lie about this one. I mean, apart from this is why I fled. But the rest of that, I think those might, like, those are lies just absolutely wrapped in truth. They are, like, Full Metal jacketed in truth. Oh, good point, Zaku. Oh no! Oh no! Cursed! Cursed! Absolutely cursed! Though I guess he's the main character once more. Oh no, is he Dr. Stone? Oh no! Oh no! I could definitely see, like, not Boichi getting a lot of story input, but I could see Boichi definitely, like, writing down, like, here are some things I want to do. Because I can, like, it's definitely dripping with some of, like, a lot of Boichi's style. More so than early Dr. Stone, which was very clearly, like, you know, Boichi gets full art direction. Actually, I don't know. I guess this could still be, like, there's nothing here that I think is 100% this is, you know, like, this is Boichi writing. Oh, you're right! I mean, it could be two X's, or, if you look at it, like, if you take this to be, like, light, and this to be shadow, it could be a 3DX. Which is also profoundly 90s. It could also be the Smash Bros. Logo. But yeah, I am excited, like, Senku's smart enough to immediately, like, if they say anything involving the term Dr. Taiju, the moment they say the phrase Dr. Taiju, Senku's going to understand it. And, like, they already have the earring, like, they might have to retrofit it, but I could see him making, like, a cool sciencey looking thing for Taiju's ear. Yeah, I'm really, really hyped for this. Plus, like, it can't just be a, you know, Dr. Taiju is, you know, just Taiju, but he says science things. Because, like, he's also said, you know, he's a slave driver, he's making us do work all the time. So Dr. Taiju has to be essentially just Senku, but Taiju's body. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right, you're right! We're also gonna get the inverse! Oh, I'm so excited! Because that would also be a good way to explain, or, I mean, the smartest thing I think would be Senku just does not show himself in order to sell the charade. But I could see at least one thing where Dr. Taiju says, "Don't mind my simpleton assistants, Mr. Senku." That would have been cool damage, but I think that would have, like, Gen is too, like, I think if he had done that, that would be enough of a potential giveaway, if it was possible to look into the bucket and see his crossed fingers. Like, I think him not having his fingers crossed is, like, it's actually better than if they were crossed. God, good chapter. That is, this arc is shaping up to be phenomenal. Ooh, also, I've never noticed that before, but thank you, Discord, for pausing the little preview, because I don't need to see it. As long as you guys are telling me that the stream's going, I don't need to see a tiny version of the stream. That's fine. I cannot put it on the same echelon as Chainsaw Man and Undead Unluck. It was good, but not that good. Like, last chapter, I think, was popping off way more. It was definitely better than Yugen's, though. Yeah, I think it's above Time Paradox. I think that's fair. Sure. I'll give it that. Alright, next we have the final series for this little read-through. We've got My Hero Academia, number 272. Good morning. Whew, okay. What is this morning going to bring? Because, I mean, I guess it's going to be someone telling Shigaraki good morning, right? It's gotta be. Okay, good. Doing the big evac. I'm really, really glad. Oh no, is this a mangaka? This man's gonna be a week behind. Okay, that's actually, like, that's a good use of his powers, too. Like, not just having the cute animals, not only making people want to see the cute animals and therefore wants to, evacuate, but also he is pulling, like, everyone's pets out of the city. Now that I say that out loud, I think the main thing we're supposed to get from this is Kota's getting all the pets out of the city. And the side effect is that it's cute. Never mind, I took that wrong. Oh, and Deku got the big, he's coming, which we didn't, like, immediately follow up on. Oh, okay. It wasn't him thinking he's coming, it's, yeah, the voice of the First. Man, the First is talking a lot. Like, this is a real, I was expecting, 2 or 3 words super strained, but no, this is like a speech. Also, the blowback will soon be here. Is he referring to, like, the internal blowback? Like, he can only make contact for a short period of time and then something happens? Or is he just saying it like, the blowback is in, the events that are about to happen, like the consequences? By the way, my shirt is probably completely soaked with sweats. That's just gonna happen. Can't stop now, can't stop, won't stop. Freed from the shackles of humanity, his power now swells. A transcendent one is coming. I mean, that's nothing if not hype. Also, Shigaraki looking very Raiden-esque here. Like, he looks super cyborgy there. I'll check after, but yeah. Exilus is extremely outmatched in this moment. Oh boy! Oh, that's a big present mic face. If this is Shigaraki's power, Exilus ain't surviving this. Exilus gone. Exilus has been X'd. Yeah, that's the K. Oh, jeez, that Nomu. Oh no, Crust! Oh, I feel so bad for bagging on him all the time, because every single thing we have ever gotten from Crust has shown him to be, like, the pinnacle of a good hero. He has been nothing but amazing. Oh my god. Yeah. 100% total bro. Oh, did we know that was Wash's ability? Like, yeah, because we're seeing the bubbles come off of him, and yeah, he's lifting everyone up. Ah, Pixie Bob! God, I'm so happy we got the Pussycats again. Shigaraki is the definition of a calamity. Like, especially now. But I love that. I love that just the use of his quirk is inherently this terrifying thing that you can't, like, punch it out. You can't stop it. You have to just escape and hope to pull out as many other people as you can. Yeah, like, the lack of sound effects also really helps. I'm sure the anime will be able to hype it up by making it, more scary. Like, I don't think it would work very well in the anime if it was silence. But I think in the manga it works really well because we don't have the sound effects to distract us from what's happening. Like, sound effects can intensify what is happening in manga, but I think, if done incorrectly, they can also really take away from what is happening. Like, especially, like, since it looks like Horikoshi's been putting a ton of effort into, like, the buildings and everything. Like, it's so detailed, the contrast between the big disintegration and the highly structured buildings is it's such a, like, perfect balance. If he were to put in a giant boom sound effects, it would ruin it. Oh, or something even greater. Plus Ultra, Shigaraki has awakened. All that you heroes have built, he will undo upon waking. I can't. We got a villain as Plus Ultra. Yeah, I like the cape. I would also be okay if, for a little bit, he has the Raiden suit on for a bit. I imagine we're going to get naked Shigaraki, actually. But, like, since we have the pure white hair, he has this very, like, almost Fae-like appearance since since he ascended at the end of, My Villain Academia. I could definitely, like, I think he would look best wearing almost nothing. Like, maybe just a cape, or, like, a cloak or something, but leaving everything else behind. Because that would also, like, put him in stark contrast to the heroes, where Deku is getting more and more gear, and all the gear is getting more, like, advanced in order to, like, give him more options with his ability. Whereas Shigaraki, like, having stuff on him is, like, not only is it unnecessary, it is a liability, because he can just annihilate everything. I mean, I can't disagree with you, because, like, it's not his powers going out of control, otherwise he would have disintegrated the cape. So, I can see a very legit argument that he did, in fact, just want the cape. Or that he wanted to destroy everything, and then he saw the cape and went, not that though. Because that is the other thing that would make him unbeatable. Like, when he was going completely berserk, the fear was, well, what if he kills the rest of the league as well? But if he has that fine-tuned ability, if he can decide, you know, everything except for this person, and that person, and that person, then that is, like, that makes him functionally almost unbeatable. Like, that along with, potentially, right now, it seems like he can only disintegrate, like, solid matter, or solid and maybe liquid, but it doesn't seem like his disintegration goes through the air yet. That's the other thing. If you approach from the air, and you attack, like, he shouldn't be able to disintegrate things by touching the air and then having the disintegration go from the air to your projectile. But in terms of physical combat, like, he has a unbelievably perfect counter for anything physical that touches anything else. Yeah, float's gonna be good. Even right now, like, if he really, really works on Black Whip, though I guess Black Whip can't really help because, you know, it needs something to cling on to. But I could see a situation where, like, they fly in a bunch of, like, airplanes or helicopters or something, and then he, like, Black Whips on those in order to move around. Like, float is good, but float might also be a little too broken. Like, float might need to be, like, very late game. Or, actually, because of where float comes from, I could easily see it being when he finally fights Shigaraki, and, like, they make physical contact once more. That could be the moment when he unlocks floats. And yeah, I do think this is the first, like, Air Force kick. Which would make sense, because he also, like, revamped his feat, not super recently, but recently enough. And he had to, like, revamp his gauntlets to do Air Force initially. That's everything, like, I wonder what would other quirks even do? Like, is there any use to that? I could actually see him do more of a, I could see it being that instead of using a lot of them for himself, he might, like, pass them out to other members of the league. Because, like, his ability is pretty in clutch. I think he needs, like, one other ability that, you know, like barriers or something to give him protection from the air. After that, I don't think there's a whole lot else he would want, even. Like, even if it would be better for him to have, you know, super speed and super strength and all the basics, I think Shigaraki's the kind of person who would choose not to, because he just wants what he needs. Whereas, like, the rest of the league, I think, could be very scary if he decides to pass on a couple extra quirks to each person. Or even just one other quirk to each of them that really complements their existing quirk. Also, damage. I do agree with you. I don't think he knows. I think he genuinely has no idea that he has it. Or, like, he might have an inkling of it just from the dream. But he might be going on just on pure impulse. Also, we don't know how it works to have a quirk that you didn't have before. Like, we kind of know it from Deku, but that's been a, like, you know, it's been triggered outside of him, and then afterwards he slowly gets acclimated to it. I don't know, like, and those are all things that he's been told about to some extent, kind of. Like, Black Whip the first time was, like, that was berserk. He didn't know what was going on. That was scary. Shigaraki, I think, like, if he has thousands of quirks right now, I don't think he would know how to use any of them, or if he did, like, how do you differentiate them? If he just thinks, I want to do a big punch, like, what is the difference between activating a strength quirk versus activating all of them at the same time, because he doesn't, you know... Like, I think he's gonna need a training arc. Oh, really? Where are those cracks? Give me those cracks. Give me... what did I just say? Give me those cracks? I can't see enough of a difference with the shattering to really say for sure. I guess they are straighter, perhaps? They're more techie than before. Oh, and that would fit, because, you know, like, All For One does have a very techie, you know, line thing to him. Plus, you know, the whatever that ability is that does the super straight lines. I mean, he is unbelievably scary. I do genuinely think, like, if they don't leave, like... The only thing I can think of that would be a good counter right now is if they just bomb the city. That's it. Like, apart from that, I do think if they had all stayed in the building, they'd all be gone. Like, as I said before, like, the start of this arc was, you know, this is the day where there were no heroes. And I do think this arc could have, I don't think it will, but it could potentially end with it being, you know, the night of no heroes, in the sense of, you know, it's not that they're all in one location, it's that they're all dead. Like, every adult hero could have been annihilated in this, you know, in this incident. Huh, interesting theory, Zaku. True, Gigantamakia is somewhere. And I could see Gigantamakia having, like, a tape or something that has, like, the, you know, the training video. The, so you have all for one training video? Or I guess that would be, like, an exercise tape or something. I could see it. I think that'd be such a cool interaction, too. Because that is the combination of, you know, you are annihilated and I steal you know, I steal your thing. Good theory, good theory. Alright. That is... Oh, it's such a good chapter. It was so good. I mean, it was so hype, I should say. I'm trying to differentiate good and hype because I do conflate the two a lot. And I do want to, like... I do appreciate very structured good in a different way than pure unadulterated hype. But I do think when I do my rankings, the hype comes first. I think it is human to hype. So, number 4. Yeah, that looks good. And you're not wrong, Damage. This is both good and hype at the same time. Alright. So, that is it for the live stream portion. Next is the Promised Neverland, and then after that, author comments. For those of you who stuck around for the live stream, thank you so much for checking out the live stream. I'll have another one next week, and then so on, so forth, until I say no. It's so fun to actually do the live streams, and I was really in a big downer mood after I lost the last one, so thank you, thank you, thank you. This will be up sometime this week. Alright, next we have The Promised Neverland. After this point, by the way, I will just put it in the pre-recordeds. Like, the reason I've been so weird about it has been partially that I don't want Donut to, you know, see my reaction to it if he hasn't already seen it, but also partially because Promised Neverland has always been a, you know, a live stream series. So I've always been like, oh, but it has to be where the live stream series are. It can't be in the pre-recordeds. It's arbitrary. It doesn't matter. So we're just gonna do it. Chapter 178, To the Human Worlds. So, let's see. Somehow I feel like we're not going to the human world in this chapter, right? Although, I guess that could be the case. Like, we have at least one more chapter until the end of the series. And I could see it being that we go to the human world this chapter, we get, like, you know, the final page is a big shot of whatever it looks like, and then next chapter, or we could even have, like, a tiny little mini-arc that is just, you know, here's the human world, here's how the kids settled in. Oh, okay. So, I guess below all of the farms, but also below Goldie Ponds. Yeah, like, what was Goldie Pond then? Because I thought, you know, the phrase Goldie Pond, you know, we thought it referred to the fact that the whole facility was underwater, but secretly it referred to, you know, the gold water thingy here with the elevator and all that. But I guess do all of the farms have one of those? Okay, so this is where it all comes down. I've been saying since we learned how the promises work, like Emma should have to sacrifice something. I wasn't really feeling like in this final arc that we were going to have her say, like, my theory for the longest time has been she is going to stay here in the demon world. And I could still see that working out. Like, it would be a little bitter. It would be, you know, like, not all the kids got to go to the human world. The point that the series was trying to make at the very start has not been fulfilled. But at the same time, like, Sonji and Mujika are good people, they're Emma's friends, and the demon world is going to be a world in which no one has to eat humans. So I could see a situation where she decides to just be, you know, the ratry of, you know, like, a singular ratry. Like, once she dies, no more humans in the demon world. I could see that being, like, a fair end to her character arc. But at the same time, it's a compromise. And one thing I have loved about Promised Neverland this whole time is that there have been, like, not that there have been no compromises, but, like, people have died. Bad things have happened. But the goal, like, Emma's nature has always been to not accept compromises. Like, she has always been the one who wants to say, you know, we aren't sacrificing anything. All of us get to go, all of us get to be free. It doesn't matter how insane that sounds. It is everyone. So for her to accept a sacrifice of herself, I think feels strange and offbeat. Also, she's not going through the seven walls again, which I 100% expected her to go back. Even if they didn't fully say it, I do like that this was clearly what we as the audience were supposed to theorize. Like, oh, maybe she's not going to go to the human worlds. You're not going to die or be forced to stay in this world or anything like that for sure. Also, I think she says me, everyone here, and the children in other farms. I do assume she is saying that also includes the adults. So that also closes off the loophole I've been thinking of what if the adults stay here? Yeah, so what is the reward if not... I mean, it could be when they're in the human world, something bad happens. Or even I'm not helping you when you're in the human world, and the human world isn't the paradise you think it is. The reward that I want is your family. Also, I do like that since she said she's not going to the seven walls, we still are getting more seven walls just through the flashback. And so it is what is most important to you. Okay. Your family will go to the human world. That's the promise. So it can't have your family. So what should we do? That seems a little sketchy. For the last 1,000 years, you've had everything taken from you. So those 1,000 years are the price. Okay, I can see that. In the same way that, the price the Ratchet clan has been paying has now been completed. He did let James just go to rest. Or, Peter, I mean. He did decide, you get to rest, thank you for the last 1,000 years. So I guess this could be Garblarg, being fair to both sides and saying, alright, the demons no longer need to give me a sacrifice every year. The humans no longer have to, balance the worlds, because there is no balance between the worlds. They're just separate now. Therefore, if everything's apart, you don't have to pay anything. And it does in some way, not that it doesn't justify all the suffering the kids have gone through, but there is something that came out of it. Everything that's happened, the entertainment of the series as a whole was enough to make Gargablar go, you know what, you good. And I really appreciate that both Ray and Norman are saying, we don't believe it. This seems too Deus Ex Machina. Emma, if you're lying to us, just tell us. That is a good point, too. If she were to stick around, Sanju Mujika can't stop random Demon X from just stabbing her in the heart. As much as the demon world is going to be better off as a whole, it's still not a safe place. The decision to separate the two worlds is the best option now. Now that the demons won't starve off and die. And the fact they're hammering it in so much, I can't imagine that Emma is lying about this. In most other series, I would think, they're really trying to hammer it down. They're taking away all of the speculation that we've built up over the last year and a half or so. The entire length of this final arc. So it has to be a lie. There's got to be something else. But I do think there isn't something else. Okay. And yeah, I don't think we'll have, an entire human world arc or anything. But I think the series could leave it off at, it's not going to be easy to be in the human world. Or the human world is our world, where if a bunch of orphans showed up out of nowhere, it wouldn't be the best. But at the same time, that isn't necessarily a downer ending or anything. It's they gotta keep on fighting. I mean, that's just life. And I hadn't even thought about the seizures that Norman and the others have. Yeah, if they don't have, drugs to stave that off in the human world, they're just gonna die. Are we going to actually get it in this chapter? More than one shot of the human worlds. Oh, that's so dope! There's so many different staircases, though, which makes me wonder, is there more than just the human world and the demon worlds? It should just be one staircase if that's the case. Though I guess Garglarg's major thing is time and space, the seven walls. So it could be this is a staircase that goes through time and space, but the intent of it is to come back, same time, different place. So over here, it looks like, it's just a big blinding light that's consuming all of them. Then over in the areas where, outside of the main pond area, it seems like the golden water is rising up. But then over here with the mass production kids, it looks like they're just kind of, turning into dust. Boy, the mass production kids, that is going to be a headache to deal with in the human worlds. So we got one shot of presumably New York or a New York analog. Yeah, I mean, it was a chapter. It isn't necessarily good or bad to be, by the books, but it was. I don't know. I do hope that the next chapter or two is a little more satisfying. But like this was good. It didn't have the catharsis I was expecting from this moment, especially because it is they did it. They got off without any consequences. Like I was expecting that to be more of a punch than it was.
I'm surprised. I thought this was like one of the most cathartic Promised Neverland chapters in a long time, especially with everything that's been happening recently. Mm-hmm. This is definitely my favorite chapter of Promised Neverland within the past year.
Really?
Certainly. Yeah.
Now, I personally cannot put it above Bone Collection. So I think right there. But I am excited to see how this arc resolves. Alright, let's hit those author comments, and then we are donezo. Classic Akutami comments. Oh, you just good as doing preparing for a new series. That's exciting. Also, they both, I guess because, I know for the first chapter of a new series, if it's an artist-writer duo, they'll let the artist and the writer both say something. But I didn't realize they did that for one-shots. Though, to be fair, I can't recall the last one-shot that was done by an artist-writer duo. God, Yuki Tabata is so wholesome. Like, boy. I just bought a bunch of carbonated water. I'm excited. Like, it's been so hot over here, so not unbelievably hot, but compared to, the last couple of weeks of straight up winter, it's been hot. I have not noticed a difference in My Hero's art style at all. We got Boichi still over 150 chapters in, still going, I can't believe it's real time and Jump. Fujimoto's looking forward to part 2 of To Your Eternity. I could see To Your Eternity being a series he would really like. Like, it has a lot of, not storytelling beats in common with his series, but a lot of, the vagaries in common.
I can see him liking all the parts of it I am not that into anymore.
Yeah?
Especially the Rinril arc, I think he would super enjoy. Mm-hmm. He seems to really enjoy immortal stuff.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see. He's also someone that doesn't like a lot of text and everything from what I can see.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Even though To Your Eternity has a lot of text, there is most of the action does not have the this is what's happening. You kind of have to imply what's happening.
Right.
Since it's all supernatural, it's confusing as hell, but very entertaining. So I can see why you would like it.
Yeah. If I could describe Fujimoto's aesthetic, I would say it is supernatural and it's hard to get, but it's good looking.
No idea on earth why he would be interested in the second part of To Your Eternity. Based on what I know about him, I have no idea why he would be interested in that, but sure.
Okay. For some reason, I've recently gotten into the habit of trading videos and doing muscle competitions with my brother. It's pretty fun. That is very off base for Susui-sensei. This is the first thing I think he's written in a long time that wasn't, I love my kid, or, I'm hanging out with my assistants. It's so weirdly manly, of all things. Okay, I think that's about it for the mangaka musings. I still can't get over the fact that they have separate tags for the author comments and the mangaka musings. I don't know who is pushing the mangaka musings thing. What is going on behind the scenes at Jump? That's Jump for the week of May 24th, 2020. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next week, I think, is going to be pretty exciting, but who knows? Especially with coronavirus, are we even getting it next week? They're clearly planning to have it next week, but who knows? Well, see you when I see ya. Bye for now. Nya nya.